Well, hello there, friends and neighbors. Welcome to episode 113 of Miyagi Mornings. Today's episode was spurred by a comment in one of my videos last week, and I'm not picking on the person that made the comment because I get this excuse over and over and over and over and over. And it's basically anytime I go out and I talk about like getting a little bit of land, homesteading, hunting and fishing to augment your food supply, foraging. It doesn't matter what it is. But how can I do it if I'm young and broke? Oh, cry me a damn river. You whiny ass little bitches. I'm sorry. I wasn't going to be this way when I started doing this, or when I decided to do this subject. But seriously, I mean, I think some of y'all need to hear this. I'm going to start out with a story. And so that you understand, like, I'm not beating up on you just to beat up on you. This is a story about one of my best friends in the world, a man I served in the military with, who, today if he called me and said, I need you, I would immediately drop everything I was doing and go be with him. So if I'll be this hard on him, yeah, it's not personal, right? So he lost a job, big freaking deal. The guy was incredibly marketable. I think he had a job 2 weeks later after this particular occurrence happened. And he acted like his life was over, as though he had just gotten like a terminal cancer diagnosis and gone bankrupt on the same day. And found out his dog died. I mean, that's how destroyed this guy was over losing a job, which he needed to lose, by the way. And so I took him away for a week, and I just happened to be, the day that I got the call that he was all down on himself, I just happened to be going that weekend for a long weekend up to my place in Arkansas at the time that I had at the time anyway. Kind of a vacation place. And you can shoot guns and hang out in the woods and drink some beers and grill some steaks. And, I figured this would be good for him. And it was like traveling with dadgone Eeyore from frickin' Winnie the Pooh. I mean, it was just, by the time I got done with this long weekend, when I got home, I went and took a shower to get like the negative off me. That's how bad it was. I even did a show about it. I'll see if I can find it and put it in the video notes down here. Like, that's how bad it was. And I had to do a show about dealing with Eeyores after this thing. But along the way, and it was either on the way up or the way down, and it all is one giant negative cesspool to me in my memory now, he started describing the way that he really wanted to live. I want to go hunting and fishing, I want to have a little garden, and everything could just be simple. And like, so he gets, finally after I listen to all this shit, I'm like, dude, do you realize you just described the exact way that millions of broke rednecks live every day? Like, broker than broke. Like, they have way less than you, and they live exactly the way you're saying that you want to live right now, and you're claiming that money's why you can't do it. You do see where that doesn't make any sense. His response was something to the effect of, well, yeah, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do indeed? So let's talk about what this means and what this excuse is really all about. There's two sides to this excuse. There's an inability to budget, do math, and use logic. That's one side of it. And the other side of it is people don't really want what they say they want. So let's start with the inability to, budget and use math and use logic and reason. So anybody out there today, unless you're living at home, in which case you could probably have a garden in your backyard at your parents' home until you get your own place, you're paying some money to live somewhere, right? You're paying some money to live somewhere. So what you have to do then is figure out what you don't have that you do want the opportunity to do, and how to make that money provide you with what you need to be able to pursue what you want. And most of you can. But what you'll find out when you do this exercise with people, because I've done it, well, you're going to have to move. I don't want to move. What do you mean you don't want to move? You just said you want. Well, I want to stay like right where I am, but I want a bigger place. Okay, so you don't want what you really said you wanted, because like what my friend was saying he wanted was to live like a broke ass redneck. They don't live in kind of upper end urban places in Dallas, Texas, do they? Right? They live out in the sticks, which is where he said he wanted to live. But whenever it came down to it, he didn't really want to live out in the sticks. He didn't really want it. So either the problem is that the person just simply hasn't, they've already talked themselves out of the ability to do what they probably can do, which is simply to go through an exercise, figure out what you want, design the type of life you want to have, and then figure out how to get it on the income that you have. Okay? The more persistent problem here is that the people that say this don't really want it. What they really want is a lot more than they say that they want. You see what I'm saying? Right? And they're like, well, see, I can't afford it. Okay, so then you have to fix the income side. What, did you think there was going to be some magical beans I was going to give you and it would grow your ass a homestead? No, you need to fix the income side. But the income side a lot of times has an awful lot to do with the outgoing side. Today, I'm amazed at how many broke-ass young people, and that's the term they use for themselves, walk around with $1,000 iPhones and eat avocado toast made at coffee houses. Avocado toast at a coffee house costs about 10 times more than it would cost for you to take a piece of fucking bread and put it in your fucking toaster and pull it out and spread some freaking avocado on it, which as far as I understand, that is what avocado toast is. And I know some of you are like, I don't eat avocado toast. You know what? I guarantee you most people that call themselves broke-ass young people have a massive amount of outflowing money that is not on necessities. And that's okay. But what do you really want? Do you really want a homestead and you want all the things you say you want? Or do you want to go hang out with your friends and go shopping? You see what I'm saying? There's choices in all of this. So we have to look at the income. We also have to look at the outgoing. And I know some of you are going to be like, you don't understand, dude. I'm actually broke. Guess what I was too? When I was young, I was broke. I didn't know what a cell phone was. They did exist. I'm not that old. Because I know some of you are like, okay, boomer. You need a freaking calendar if you're going to call me a boomer, okay? You need a calendar and you need to figure some shit out like a long-term, long-duration, decade calendar to figure out where boomers come from in that mix. I am not a boomer. I'm a Gen Xer. Maybe that's why I'm the asshole that I am, because we're the generation that raised ourselves. But I can tell you that the broker I was, the more freedom I seem to have to do all the shit that people say they want to do, but they think they need money to do. Hunting and fishing are not expensive. You don't need a $50,000 bass boat and $8,000 worth of tackle to go fishing. Broke-ass people go fishing every day. Find a place and go throw a line in the water. Catch some fish, take them home and eat them, and cut your grocery bill. None of this is hard. This is the truth, broke-ass young people. You will never, in your life, have more opportunity to get what you want in your life than you do this second, this moment, right now. In fact, 5 more seconds just went by, you now have less. And 5 more seconds will go by and you now have less. And 5 more seconds went by and you have less again. This is how this works. You either get with getting what you want, or you let this excuse be what it is. A cancer in your life. That's all excuses are. They're life cancer. They destroy lifestyle design and the opportunity that comes along with it. Every time you make an excuse, well, I'm just broke and young, you're saying to your mind, there is no way to solve this problem. And your mind says, okay. And it goes back to figuring out what type of whether the avocado toast tastes better if you cut the bread in half square or if you cut it on an angle. That's because you just told the mind, I don't need you to solve this problem. There is no solution to this problem. And then you see a guy like me, and then you want me to do the work that your mind is supposed to do for you. I can't do it for you. That's why I'm a dick about this, because I wish I could. I wish I could just reach out of this screen right now to that little head and go click and make you go, oh, you mean all I have to do is figure my own shit out and I need to get with doing that now? Okay, I'll do that. This is why I wish I could do that. Notice there was no actual answer in that. It was just a change in thinking. I know that if you do that, you will succeed. How do I know that? Because everybody that ever did, unless they got hit by a truck or something and died before they got an opportunity to finish it, did. I don't know anybody that ever sat down in their life and said, I'm going to make a plan to get myself to any reasonable goal, whatever it was. Own a house, have a backyard, live in the woods, have more hunting and fishing in their life, be able to homestead, whatever. Anything is reasonable. If you can sit down and write a plan, here's how I'm going to be worth $11 billion, you probably will fail. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it if that's what you want. Because, failing at 10% of that would be still $1.1 billion. That's pretty good. But when it comes to reasonable things that other people do all the time, I've never seen anybody, ever, and I've seen some stupid, slow, moronic people achieve this type of success. Do you know why? Because they did it. You won't ever have a better chance to do this than you do right now if you're 18, 19, 21, 25. I wish the hell I could turn back the clock and be 24-year-old Jack Spirko again with 1% of the additional knowledge that I have now. If I could just take 1% of that knowledge back, and people are like, well, which knowledge? Like, that matters. I don't care. I don't care. 1% more applied across 25 more years. Well, shit. That would add up, wouldn't it? Think about it like compound interest power. We all learn about this. We should anyway. You save your money and you earn interest on it. You keep adding to it. But the real magic happens like right before retirement as the balance has gotten so big and the interest keeps compounding and it starts, your retirement grows like this and it's like the last 5 years it takes off like that if you actually do the work. That's how that extra 1% of effort, that 1% of knowledge, that learning one new thing every day and applying it to your life, that's exactly how it works. Only it works much faster than investing in mutual funds and in the stock market. It works way faster. It works so much faster because you have an active input level going on there. And I'll tell you that whether or not you're going to be able to do this depends on how you'll answer this question I'm about to give you. The good news is if you answer it improperly and there's a wrong answer, you can change it. I want you to imagine yourself right now. You're walking down the street, driving in your car, hanging out somewhere, whatever. And whatever it is for you, like the car of your dreams, the girl of your dreams, the guy of your dreams, the house of your dreams, the clothes of your dreams, the piece of land of your dreams, whatever. For some reason, you see a person who has achieved that thing in their life for themselves. You're driving down and you look and you see this piece of land and you're like, if I could wave a wand and have a piece of land and a home, that's what I would have. Get yourself in that mindset so that you can answer this question, and I want you to answer it honestly. Whatever it is, the car, the 67 Fastback Mustang, whatever it is for you. Everybody has something. Most people have multiple things. But the thing that would just be like, if you won $50 million in the lottery, you'd go buy the thing tomorrow. You wouldn't even think about it. Hey, figure out, get a financial manager for the rest of this money, but I'm taking this $1 million and I'm doing this one thing I've always wanted. You see somebody that has that. How do you answer this question? When you see that, or you see anything approaching that, do you say A, it must be nice, or do you say B, good for them? It must be nice or good for them. I grew up surrounded by people that I heard say must be nice all the time. It was a place just infested with poverty consciousness, a place called Pottsville, Pennsylvania. My father used to refer to the place as a white man's ghetto. He wasn't wrong. And man, all my uncles, their friends, the fathers of the kids I went to school with and stuff, if we went fishing somewhere and we drove past this big, beautiful place, oh, it must be nice. Those men never got what they wanted in life. And if you emulate what they were doing, you won't either. Eventually, I grew up, joined the Army, tried to go back home, really couldn't stay after I had been out of there for a while. I came here to Texas, and I decided I wanted to have wealth in my life. I wanted to have success, I wanted to have money, and I wanted to have the things that money bought. And instead of dreaming about it or thinking about it or whatever, I decided I would research what made people wealthy and what made people able to get what they want. And I realized very quickly that, since I didn't really have any desire to go to college, that's not the path I should take unless I could find out that all the people that had what I wanted went to college. And when I started looking at people that had what I wanted, some of them did and some of them didn't. Oh, okay. So that means I don't have to do a thing I don't want to do. Now, if I had found out, the only people that I could find anywhere that were successful, I would have bit the bullet and I would have figured out how to get through college. So I actually was willing to make the sacrifices to get what I wanted based on what other people that had what I wanted had done. I learned that it was aggression. It was a willingness to get things done. It was working when other people went home. It was taking any opportunity and every opportunity and always looking for the next opportunity. But I also realized the biggest thing in it was mindset. And along the way, I was fortunate to figure out Poverty consciousness would keep me broke. And I'd never have what I wanted. And I realized having a negative view, well, it must be nice view of people that had more than I did, was the most dangerous programming I could put into my mind. And I had to be 23, 24 years old, somewhere in that range, when I realized this. And at the time, I was making like $15 an hour or something like that. And I was killing myself for it. I was working in underground construction. It was brutal. But I made that decision that I would never look at somebody that had something I didn't in a negative light again. I would just think, good for them. And I would think, well, if they did it, then there's no reason that I can't do it. And my life changed. It didn't change overnight. It did, but it didn't. It took time for the compounding interest that we talked about to start to really give me what I wanted. But from 24 to 26, I went from making $15 an hour to 6 figures. And it was that mental change that did it. So some of the things that people say that they want, it can be purchased with money. And if you want it in a way that requires that, then you have to fix the income side. And you can do it. And a lot of people that claim that they're broke are making more money, even if you adjust for inflation, in their early 20s than I ever got close to. And somehow I had a pretty good life at that point. I really did. You know, you end up having a roommate or something like that to kind of make ends meet, or you live in a small place or whatever, but you do it. And you struggle. And I think that's a big part of this problem, is that so many of you don't think you're supposed to struggle. And it's not your fault in some ways. It's society's fault for teaching you that struggling was bad. I am so grateful that I had to struggle to get where I am, because I think if I would have had success before I struggled, it would have destroyed my life. I have a nephew, and I hope he didn't take it wrong, because it seemed like he might have a little bit, just a little bit. He and his wife have built an incredible business. He's in his early 40s. She's in her mid-30s. And they struggled so hard for so long. He had success in his career, but it also fell apart on him. But he kept working. And that, of course, put them into a place where they adjusted to their income, and then the income went away, and that made it even harder. And now, when I say they're successful, I mean they're more successful financially than I am. And good for them. But I told him recently we had a get-together at his new house. Beautiful place. I'm so glad this didn't happen to y'all too soon. Because if this would have happened to you when you were 24 or 25, it probably would have ruined your life. And it probably would have. It probably would have. Especially, bringing 2 young teenage girls up and a little bit spoiled as it is. I mean, if it would have happened at 24 or 25. But that struggle is the furnace. It's the forge that tempers the steel so that it's hard enough to do its job. If you want success in your life, then you're going to struggle to get it. The good news is it's actually not that hard. And the great news is it is the struggle that builds your life in such a way that when you get it, you figure out how to keep it. With that, it's been Jack Spirko with another episode of Miyagi Mornings. I'll be back tomorrow with another one.